All right, guys, welcome to the Crawford County, Illinois Ghost Hunter Society live talk show. This is episode number 41, guys. We're getting up there in episodes. Been doing these. We used to do them every Monday night. Now we're doing them every first and third Monday night of the month. So we appreciate everybody tuning in out there again tonight for another awesome episode. We got a really cool guest tonight. So definitely stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, definitely check out our website at crawfordcountyghosthunters.org. If you've not looked at that, you can email us at illinoishauntings@gmail.com if you have any type of location that you think may be haunted or has the presence of, some type of paranormal activity going on. Definitely send us an email or message us on our Facebook page. And we do investigations free of charge. We don't charge for anything. We're in this for the research of, the paranormal phenomena going on at these locations. So, we don't charge anything. So definitely give us a email if you have anything going on out there, or send us a Facebook message. And you guys are probably watching us out there on Facebook. If you're not, you can visit our Facebook page at facebook.com/Crawford County Ghost Hunters. Or check us out on YouTube. We are also dual streaming to YouTube tonight, youtube.com/Crawford County Ghost Hunters. If you prefer the YouTube platform over Facebook, some people do. You guys can check us out on YouTube, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'd appreciate that. We also have an Instagram page. You can check that out at Instagram/Crawford County Ghost Hunters. And as always, tonight's music was by the Midnight Syndicate. All rights reserved, used with permission. And you can visit their website at midnightsyndicate.com or find the Midnight Syndicate on YouTube and Spotify. They've got a lot of scary, horror, gothic music. If you guys are into that type of stuff, definitely check out the Midnight Syndicate. But we have a guest on tonight. If you guys remember, we last weekend, we've got a lot to talk about because we investigated New Harmony, Indiana, the weekend before last. I think that was on the 7th, maybe we were there. But we have a special guest with us tonight from the New Harmony, Indiana area. She is, she's wrote a lot of books. Pretty cool how we met. We're going to talk about this when I bring her on the air here in a minute, guys. But her name is Joni Mayhan, and she's a paranormal investigator and the author of 23 paranormal books. She owns and operates Haunted New Harmony Ghost Walks in the historic town of New Harmony, Indiana. To learn more, you can check out her website at jonimayhan.com/hauntednewharmony.com. So you guys definitely want to check her website out there. And I'm going to go ahead and bring her into the stream tonight. Hey, Jody.
Hey, Jason. Thanks
How
for
are you
having me on. I'm doing well. I'm doing well. This is great. Very interesting how we met.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of a cool story I want to tell here right at the beginning. Yeah, we were out investigating there at New Harmony, and I'd actually, it's kind of cool because I'd seen some of your stuff, Jody. I'd looked up New Harmony, and of course you popped up as being with all the haunted stuff there, and your ghost walks, and I was
Mhm.
going to get in contact with you. I didn't have time, and I didn't know if you had time because I seen you were actually doing some haunted tours or ghost walks on the weekend. We were going to be there, so I didn't really want to bother you, but we ended up running into each other anyway. we we were investigating Maple Hill Cemetery, and we were up there on top of the cemetery. We started seeing lights, and we didn't think it was a car. We thought it was weird, kind of scared the heck out of us, and come to find out it was Joni on her golf cart coming up there.
Yeah, we had I usually have ghost walks every Friday night and Saturday night, and afterwards I go ride around on my golf cart afterwards just to cool down a little bit because I'm always so hot. And of course, I go to the cemetery because why wouldn't I? Being a fellow ghost hunter, that's where we're drawn to. And I come up to the parking lot at the bottom, and I'm like, "There's cars here." And I had friends on the golf cart with me, and I said, "That's really weird." And I looked up, and I could see lights at the top, and I said, "I wonder who's up there." And we were a little nervous too. And I said, "You know what? I bet it's ghost hunters. I bet somebody's up there investigating." And it's not very often that we see anybody up there. So I thought, "Oh, this is cool." So I thought I'm going to go up and introduce myself. And so I pulled up, and you guys were a little startled to see me with my golf cart with the ghost hanging off of it. And it was
Yeah.
like, who is this woman?
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I was like, yeah. But I see the ghost on the golf cart. I was like, they've got to be another ghost hunter,
Yeah.
or something. And Ed Reese, one of my team members, he happened to get in town the night before I did that weekend. We planned on doing Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, but I got to doing a bunch of stuff and ended up only being able to do Saturday into Saturday night. And Ed came a little early, and I think Ed took your ghost walk that night. So he recognized you, and he goes, "Oh, that's Joni." And so I was like, "Oh, cool."
Yeah, and he was behind the lights, so I couldn't see him. I
Yeah,
could see the other two people that had been with them, but Ed's very recognizable. I see so many people with the ghost walks that people kind of blend in after a while. But Ed's unique, and
yes,
and the minute he lowered that light, I'm like, "Oh, I know you," And then I
yeah,
recognized the two that were with him. So it was like, "Oh yeah, you guys were." They were very quiet on my ghost walk. Like the whole time, I kept thinking they're not having a good time, because it's not, it's history and some of the ghost stories and stuff. It's not an investigation, and somebody who
right,
investigates a lot may not find it as interesting as somebody who doesn't. So,
yeah,
but at the end, he was like gushing. He said, "This was great. We had a great time." And I'm like, "Oh, good."
yeah,
So, yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I always like to take, find locals, and too, even when we do, investigations in other areas like New Harmony, I
Mhm.
like to hear, the stories and everything. So when I go on vacation, I try to do ghost walks, take other people's stuff too, because it's kind of a relief. I've been doing the haunted tours too, here in Crawford County for like a little over 20 years, and we've been doing buildings, and we're going to do the Methodist Village in Lawrenceville this year, as a haunted tour location. It's just it's cool and relaxing to go to someone else's, like
Yeah, yeah.
to find
Sit
someone
back
like
and be entertained. Yeah, yeah. I would love to come and visit yours as well. So,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
that'd be great. Yeah,
yeah. It
we'd
was.
love to invite you to come over here in October. That's when we usually have most of them. I think we're doing them last 2 weekends in September. We're going to be doing the Methodist Village,
Mhm.
and our regular I'm trying to read these comments too. The regular county tours are in October, so yeah. But you're more than welcome to come for free. We'll give you a free spot on there, and you can come over and see what we've got over here too. It's pretty cool. We go around to a lot of different locations in Crawford County and give the history and hauntings. It's kind of like a
Mhm.
driving tour because the area is so big and the areas are so spread out, so everybody follows behind in their vehicles. And it's really cool. Sometimes the people on the tours get more than what we've got at some of these places. You know, they get some good EVP, and we invite everybody to bring their own equipment if they have it. You know, it's just kind of a cool little thing. But yeah, you're more than welcome to come over our way too sometime. We'd appreciate it.
Yeah, that sounds great. You know, we're really busy in October as well, but I now have 5 tour guides, so maybe I can find somebody to work for me.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's what we're going to have to do this year too. I think we're going to have a couple locations. I'm probably going to go to one, and, you know, maybe send a couple of my other team members to others if they can, and, you know, do 2 different spots at once, you know, on some of our haunted tours. Cause yeah, it's I can't be everywhere. So we got to kind of split it up too.
Yeah. We're trying to get creative because we have more people. Like, I don't really like to go over 20 people because then, you know, it's shuffling. It's kind of like herding cats. So we've started doing some different things. Like we'll split up, and one of us will take the group backwards. You know, start at the last location, and we'll pass in the middle. So
that's a good idea.
Yeah, we're doing a few different things this year. So trying to get everybody in. Yeah,
that's a really good idea. Because the walking tours, you can kind of do them a little different. I used to do walking tours in Palestine, Illinois. Years ago, you know, we had the Fife Opera House and the winery, and there's an old train caboose there and a couple cemeteries we'd take them to, you know, in Palestine. And we did that kind of as a walking tour too. And I like the walking tours because then you get to, like, you know, it's just, you get a feel for it, I think, more because you're standing outside the place and, you know, you get to hear the history. And Ed really enjoyed the tour, and he said it was cool. So, I mean, I highly recommend, if you guys are in New Harmony, to definitely take one of Joni's walking tours, because she knows her history, and that's what we like. You know, we like the historical stuff and the historical side of it. You know, and so my first question for you tonight, Joni, to kind of get into your history and stuff. How did you get? I always ask everybody, as always, how did you get into the paranormal side of it? And you know, did you grow up doing it? Did you just one day see something that scared you, or amazed you, or how did you get into, like, the paranormal side of all this?
Well, I think everybody that gets into the paranormal gets there because they had an experience they can't explain. And for me, it started in childhood. I'm sensitive. I'm really more of a medium. I just hate giving myself that lofty title because it comes with baggage. Everybody wants a reading or something, and I don't do readings, but I can go into a location and tell you if there's anything there, who's haunting it, what they look like, maybe a name, maybe a message. But, you know, I'm not necessarily a good medium. I'm medium-ish. But I started off as a child that way, and I can remember having my first experiences around 5 or 6. I'm clairaudient, which is I hear things. And for me, I hear something similar to, sometimes it's similar to ear ringing, but most of the time it's like white noise, like a static sound.
It's like EVP sort of.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. And I can tell you where the ghost is in the room because that's where the sound is coming from. So a lot of times I'll be doing investigations and I'll be moving my head, and, you know, anybody that's on my team or, you know, is investigated with me knows what I'm doing. I'm trying to track the ghost. And once I tune into it, it's like a gateway for me. So once I tune into it, then I start getting more information. I'll get mind pictures and words and information about who it is and just things about their life. And it's kind of interesting. I get asked to do a lot of walkthroughs at people's houses.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
I actually just did one in Mount Carmel, Illinois. Last Thursday. My cousin's daughter wanted me to check out a house she had just bought and was going to use as a rental. And I guess there's some stories going on around town about that house being haunted, and she wanted to find out if I found anything. And I walked through, and I felt a little bit, but it was nothing to be concerned about. I mean, I think a lot of houses have a ghost or two just hanging around, and they may not make a peep. You may not know about them. You know, they're just there. So
that's interesting. Now, do you ever have, like, flashes in your head, stuff like that? You know, like mental images when you go into these places, you know, like kind of like scenes replaying themselves over?
Sometimes I get a snapshot, and it's never exactly like I want it to be. Like, it's not a head-on face shot. But it'll give me something to work with. And sometimes I will see that, and then I will see like somebody that person reminds me of, sometimes a movie star, or so I can say, he looks a little bit like Kiefer Sutherland, or something like that. So, and it's been very helpful because people have been able to go back and pull pictures and say, here's who lived here before, and they look just like you described. So,
yeah, that's pretty interesting. There's a lot of places, probably around New Harmony. I mean, when you moved into the New Harmony area, I mean, were you always from New Harmony, or did you?
No, I grew up in the area, but when I got married at age 22, my now ex-husband, but he was from Massachusetts, so we ended up moving to Massachusetts, and I was there for 30 years. And when you have kids somewhere, you're kind of stuck there for a while. And my kids left the house, left the nest, and went on and started having their lives. And I thought, I'm going to go back to Southern Indiana while I still have parents, and spend some time with them while they're still around. And so I moved back 5 years ago. Okay. And I was very much drawn to New Harmony. I never lived in New Harmony, but I was pulled here. There is no doubt. I was adamant. People were looking for houses for me, and I wouldn't discuss anything but New Harmony. So everybody was starting to get mad because I wouldn't talk about anything else but New Harmony. So
right. So it
so here I am. Yeah.
Kind of drew you in, and like, so I mean, have most of your experiences paranormal wise been in the New Harmony area? I mean, as far as like, do you feel like that area is, more active than other locations you've been to, being a medium and stuff? I mean, do you feel like New Harmony, is kind of like a, almost like a portal for activity? I mean, because I've read some weird stuff, regarding it being the, utopian society and the harmonists and all that. You think the energy maybe is different there. Is that how you feel, or?
Yeah, New Harmony's different. There's some kind of different energy here, and I don't know if it has something to do with ley lines. I mean, people have thrown that out there. If you ask the locals, and this has been going around for decades, they'll tell you that the veil between the living and dead is thinner here. It's funny because really not that many people don't believe in ghosts here, because they've either had an experience or they know somebody who's had an experience. It's so common. Cool. And that was kind of my thing when I first moved here. I just really was trying to settle in and just start over. It was a fresh start for me. And I was already a paranormal author. And I thought, I'm just not going to tell anybody what I do for a while and just let them get to know me. Of course, small town. Everybody knew who I was the minute I stepped foot in town. They just Googled me. And they were like, oh, okay. I was trying to keep it quiet. I just wanted to be recognized as a person before I was recognized as that freaky investigator that chases ghosts. But yeah, it didn't take long. I started walking around and I'm like, oh my gosh, every building has a ghost in it. And I was just astounded. So then I started asking, and I started getting all the ghost stories, and people were pretty forthcoming with their stories. So I got a lot.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. Do you want to kind of go into a little bit of the history of New Harmony for the viewers out there that may not know a lot about the area? I researched it, pretty good, mostly after, because there's a lot of times when I go into an area, there's times I want to know the history and there's times I don't. Like sometimes I want to like pick up stuff through our EVP communication and ITC communication, and then verify later that it's real. So I don't have a preset mind, or, that pre-mindset that, Frank lives over here, and then I'm going to hear Frank on the box or something. Sometimes I like to go in with a blank slate instead of learning the history, but I did a lot of historical research after we left New Harmony, but you're the definitely the authority on that. If you want to kind of explain to the audience, the history of New Harmony and what took place there, that would be cool if, you could.
Yeah, sure. Okay. So New Harmony was the site of two former utopian societies. And the first one happened in 1814, and that's 2 years before Indiana even became a state. So this was a group of German Lutherans who were escaping religious persecution, And they started off in Pennsylvania. That was their first area that they landed in. There were about 800 of them. And they set up their first town, and it was called Harmony, Pennsylvania. And they were there for about 10 years, but they didn't necessarily get along with their neighbors too well. So when they tried to buy more land, nobody would sell to them. So they decided to set their sights further west, and that's where they found 27,000 acres along the Wabash River, which is where we are right now. So they bought it, they came here, they built the town from the ground up, and they were very, very successful. They made and sold just about everything, everything from beer, whiskey, and wine to textiles to shoes and rope and brooms and hats and just everything. And they sold to a lot of different states, all across the United States, and to 11 different countries. So, but they were, very much, by today's standards, we'd probably call them a cult because they worked. Yeah, nobody made money. It all went into the town kitty. And, they took the secondhand stuff to use. I mean, they never took anything good for themselves, and they really didn't have allowed really to do any hobbies. And the other thing is Father Rapp, their leader, wanted them to become, he felt the second coming of Christ was going to happen. So he wanted his group to be as pure as possible. So his entire group becomes celibate. And even if they came to the group as husband and wife, they now had to live as brother and sister. So, and the people did it. They did it. I tell my groups, I said they drank the Kool-Aid. They were very successful. You could never get that to happen again anywhere because those kind of people just don't, they don't exist outside that mentality. So after 10 years, second coming of Christ didn't happen. And I feel like he just wanted to keep them busy. And so they moved back to another area of Pennsylvania, and that's where they set up their third and final utopian society that they named Economy. And that's where they died out because, they weren't making new little harmonists. So, so they sold the town before they moved. They sold the town lock, stock, and barrel to a man who couldn't have been more different from them. And that was a man named Robert Owen. Robert Owen was a very wealthy, rich, Welsh social reformer. And his idea of utopia, it revolved around a moral free world. He wanted things to be different. He wanted everything to focus around education, equality, social reform, science, totally different. And a lot of his group were atheists. So there was a big clash right there between the two. But he was a better speaker and a better thinker than he was a doer. He invited a lot of people here, and he brought in a boatload of scientists. But he didn't bring any farmers. He didn't bring any people that knew how to work the machinery and the mills and the factories. And so everything fell apart pretty quickly. They only lasted 2 years. But a lot of what he got started kind of took hold and created some cool stuff. So this was the site of the very first kindergarten anywhere in the world or anywhere in the United States here in this town. They had one of the first women's groups. They had one of the very first public education systems that taught both boys and girls. Yes. And one of the first free public libraries. So back in that day, if you wanted to read a book, you had to buy a book. And they wanted education to be free, so they opened up this library. And it's the longest continually operating library in the state of Indiana. So they did some cool stuff. There's some seeds were planted. So.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, it was weird. You mentioned cult. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you if you're still going. But you mentioned cult, back there, and that's weird you say that because when I did my research, that's the first thing that popped into my head. It was like, oh my gosh, this guy's wanting them to confess their daily sins to him, and daily. I read on some parts. I don't know if there's any truth to that. Where I think it was the original leader. Like if they would do something bad, they would have to come to him and confess his sins. Was there any truth to that, that I read, or
maybe I don't know. I haven't read that, but very possibly. I mean, he was definitely in charge, and they listened and pretty much did anything he wanted. So I'm sure that's possible. They just worked. Like they woke up at dawn to the sound of either a bell or a horn being blown. And the milk truck would come around, and it had they'd give them instructions on where they were working that day. And so they would go work, and then another horn would blow, and they'd know when they could stop to eat breakfast, and then they'd work until it was time for lunch, and then they'd work until it was time to pray. And it, there wasn't, free time happened after dinner, and pretty much they went home and went to bed because, this is early 1800s. Right. Not a lot to do for them. So very self-sacrificing people.
Yeah. Well, another weird thing regarding the cult, like we were in the Labyrinth area, and we were doing an ITC session out there, and we kind of me and Ed had went out there, and Courtney decided to walk it, to see if any, she had anything happen. She was walking it while me and Ed kind of done an EVP/ITC session there in the middle by the building at the Labyrinth. And we got a Sangean ghost box out there that I was trying to get communication on. And one of the clear things that came through the box was cult. We heard cult.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. We heard cult come through. That's why I was really interested, when you used the word cult a while ago, that kind of sparked my interest because that came through our ghost box. Mm-hmm. And another thing we picked up out there, we got cult, we got devil, we got the essence came through. I'm not real sure what that's supposed to mean. I also asked a question. I said, could you tell me where you're buried at? And this was the clearest, biggest response I've almost heard come out of this thing. It goes, we're buried a block over.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And we were in the middle of the labyrinth at the time it said that. Now, the way the crow flies, I mean, I don't know. We were kind of arguing whether that cemetery is a block or 2 blocks, and maybe more than that. But what do you think from the labyrinth to Maple Hill Cemetery? I mean, how far is that?
A block. I mean, it's not, there's not really blocks by the time you get, because it's outside of town. But yeah, it would be considered about a block over. I mean, it's right there. So
see, that's what I was thinking, especially, the way the crow flies, I don't know what they call a block, but it's still pretty close to where we were at. And that really, really blew our mind when that came through, I mean, that clear. And that was probably the clearest response we got anywhere in New Harmony was the labyrinth area. We were getting some crazy stuff coming through in the middle of that. And I think it may be because of the focused energies right there in the center of the labyrinth. People are focusing their energy and, meditating and walking that, and, all that's kind of concentrated there in the center. So you may have some residual activity along with intelligent activity. So it's like just I think that was a really neat place.
Yeah, it is. And we have 2 labyrinths here in town, there's so many unique factors in New Harmony. If somebody's come here and they didn't get off of Church and Main, then they haven't seen most of New Harmony, because there's also called the Cathedral Labyrinth, which is it's etched in stone, and it has a really fancy fountain that you're supposed to go dip your feet in the fountain, and you walk this barefoot, and it's very meditative. A lot of people go do that. That's relatively new, but it doesn't matter because it's built on land that used to be, something else. Like where that labyrinth is where the orchard used to be for the harmonists. Okay. So, and where the labyrinth you went to, the hedge labyrinth, it's a reproduction. So it's not the original that the harmonists built, but it's like, maybe a block over. But, that, like you said, that energy pulls in. It's like the same thing with bridges or tunnels or doorways or, anything where energy is condensed and constantly moving, definitely could open up a portal or create some kind of energy center where more things happen. So I can see that. It's a very interesting theory.
Yeah, it kind of floored us, like, because I've done ITC sessions all over the place, before with that thing, and I try to find different locations that might have different types of energy, whether it be intelligent, residual, whatever it may be, or focused energy, like that would be, and like that's one of the coolest places I've seen regarding stuff coming through our box. I mean, ITC communication. I mean, it was really clear, and it just kept going. And I think had we stayed there longer, we would get a lot more, but we were trying to hit so many different areas, while we were there. And we missed the other labyrinth you're talking about. So that's cool to hear about too.
And those aren't even, I wish you would have connected with me, because I would have shown you the better places, because last year during COVID, I normally do public investigations inside a lot of the buildings, and it's taken me years to get permission to get in these. But with COVID, we really didn't do anything indoors. So instead, I did a more of an expanded ghost walk, and we went to several of the locations where I knew we'd gotten communication inside, and we brought the spirit box and dowsing rods, and we sat like on the steps, and we got a lot of activity. We got a lot of people. A lot of them just came right out and started talking to us. It was like they didn't care that there were walls. So there's definitely some areas where they can come, and anybody can come and do something. I think I've broken in New Harmony, so they're probably not going to look at you too crazy if you're doing some kind of investigation. So
yeah, we'd love to join up with you some night, maybe investigate some of those places. I mean, we've got a lot of equipment we can bring in and stuff, camera systems, and we usually don't set it all up because it takes so much time. It takes us like over an hour just to set all of our equipment up, or longer, but if you'd be interested in doing that, we could meet up with you again. You could definitely show us some of those other places we're talking about. That'd be cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I look forward to connecting with you guys, because I've been kind of on my own here. Back in Massachusetts, I taught a paranormal 101 class for 2 years. And it was great because I pulled in a lot of people who were interested, and we kind of created our own little team, our own little family kind of, of sensitives and mediums and investigators, and we would do things together. And then when I moved here, it was like starting from scratch. I had nobody. And over time, I've pulled in quite a few people to come to investigations, people I've connected with. And, we run the gambit. I have psychic medium friends. I have friends who are just really good investigators. And but it's nice to meet other people, because, you're able to collaborate and learn more. Sure. It's better for the field. It's better for us, better for the ghosts,
For sure. Yeah. We'd be glad to help you anyway. You want, if you want to do something, set a building up, with cameras too, to even try to validate any type of psychic type feelings you may be having. We've done that before with people too, or like anything. But yeah, we take like a real scientific approach to investigating, but it's cool to mix the two. I think to mix both worlds there, between the psychic and the scientific side, to validate each other, which is pretty neat.
And we do both as well. Like when I'm doing a walkthrough for somebody's house, I actually don't bring any equipment, not even a recorder. I just walk through with pen and paper. But when I'm doing a public hunt, people will ask me, "Are you feeling anything?" And I don't. I close down because we're using equipment, because I want everybody to have an experience. I don't want, and I always hate it when I'm in a group of people and there's one medium, and they're like, "Oh, there's a ghost in the corner. It's a woman." And, she's saying, I hate that, because now everybody's looking for that one thing. It's like, I don't say anything. I don't tell them what I'm feeling. We just let the equipment work. But it is kind of helpful sometimes to be a medium, because I can say, okay, this room is where you want to set your camera, or, here's where we want to, do a session, so it's helpful that way. But I'm very scientific, and I'm very skeptical too. I mean, people send me pictures all the time. They're like, "What do you think?" And I'm like, "That would be bushes reflected in the window." Or that's a dust orb. That's not a ghost. And, so, and I don't necessarily make a lot of friends being that way, but I want to rule out everything normal before I call something paranormal.
Well, that's good. We'll get along good.
Yeah. Oh, good.
That's our same philosophy too. I mean, and we try to educate people on the dust particles all the time, because we get hundreds and hundreds of pictures sent to us of just dust particles. It's just like. I did have a question up here somewhere. I think it actually came from Becky, one of my team members. So I got a question for Joni. Does she feel most of the hauntings are residual or intelligent? I mean, do you think it's a residual type haunting where, you've got leftover stuff, or are you actually, communicating with intelligent beings there in New Harmony?
I think it's both. I think you're going to have residual energy anywhere that there's a lot of history and a lot of people have lived here. But there's also a lot of intelligent hauntings, and it's nothing really negative. Or like, I've been trying to get paranormal shows out here, and nobody's interested, because we didn't have a big bloody battle or a big massacre or anything like that. Most of our hauntings are just people that loved the town and they saw it as heaven on earth and they didn't want to go anywhere. So
Right.
that's the majority of our hauntings.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I'd be real interested in, checking out some of the buildings and stuff. What building do you think is the most haunted in your opinion? I mean, what have you seen the most of there, in New Harmony as far as building wise?
Well, if you walked around town and asked people what's the most haunted building, they would tell you the Fauntleroy House. And this is original Harmonist house. I think it's circa 1820. And a lot of negative haunting there. A lot of, a lot of activity. A lot of people have seen things, felt things, experienced things there. But for me, they kind of shut down. We were using that as an investigation location publicly. And after a while, it was almost like they just got tired of being in, having people coming in. So I respected that. And I was just getting that sense of frustration from them. Oh, it's you again, and oh, you want us to perform again. And it's like, so we stopped. We stopped investigating because they just were not happy. And, when you pick that up and you stop getting, they shut down on us too. They started being quiet, whereas we were getting a lot of EVPs and spirit box communication. Then all of a sudden we started getting nothing. I'm like, let's just quit. Let's give them a break. So 2019 was the last time we investigated there. So they've had a couple of years.
Yeah. And I totally agree with that. Sometimes it seems like I think they do get frustrated. Just like we had a place down in Sumner, Illinois called Pine Lawn Manor. To me, it's still the most haunted place I've ever seen in the world. Anywhere I've been all over the United States doing this, and the most haunted place I've ever seen is there in Sumner, Illinois, at a place called Pine Lawn Manor. It was a old nursing home for the mentally disabled. We investigated in 2020 from September to December. We had some phenomenal things, like coins were being tossed, marbles were being tossed, out of nowhere, coming out of rooms where nobody was at. First time I've ever been involved in any type of teleportation of objects from one place to another. That was happening in this place. I've never seen anything like it. Like I said, I'm the most skeptical scientific person you'll meet, and I was just blown away by the stuff we seen there. But it was like we had haunted tours there, and we'd have groups of anywhere from 20 to 30 people a night there. And people were witnessing this stuff every night. The marbles were thrown, the coins were getting tossed. The big tour groups were also witnessing this stuff.
Wow.
Which is what was cool. It was like the more people that was there, the more fed the place. But it was almost like you were saying, by December, we did from September to, December of, some tours off and on in there. I think by December, it seemed like they were getting burnt out on trying to impress people. It was like the activity started to slow down. And then after December, we had a Christmas event. I was sick for that event. But we had a whole group of people witness this. A golf ball got thrown down the hallway out of nowhere. And the whole tour group witnessed this. And after that event, it just stopped completely. The activity has not returned. We haven't seen anything in there as far as the teleportation of objects or movement of objects like that. And I think you hit the nail right on the head by saying, I think they get tired of performing. So maybe they just got tired of trying to prove to people they were actually there. Because that's what I would say. Can you prove to these guys you're real? Because a lot of people come in. Some of the people that take our tours are atheists. They're non-believers in anything. When they come in, they don't believe in God. They don't believe in ghosts. We had one guy, and we had after some of our tours, we had them, I think, believing in something at least, because they were seeing things they couldn't explain. And
I love that when that happens.
Yeah, it's good to change people's mind by an experience that takes place, on one of your tours. It's but yeah, I think you hit the nail right on the head by saying that, they get burnt out. The ghosts do, the ghosts get burnt out and don't want to perform anymore. So you got to give them a break.
And I don't blame them, because, we try to, the way I do my investigations is we have, because these are old historic buildings. So we're not going to turn a whole bunch of people loose in there and say, have fun. So each group has a tour guide, or, we'll be on each floor and the group goes from floor to floor. So, so it's a controlled environment, but, everybody participates.
Mm-hmm.
But, they will ask the same questions. You'll get a different group in and they'll say, are you male or are you female?
Yeah.
Can you knock on the wall? What's the date? Who's the president? And it's like, after a while, it's like you're treating them like they're trick ponies, and they don't like that sometimes. So, but one of my favorite locations is Community House number 2. So the Harmonists built 4 dormitory buildings, and that's where the younger people in their group that weren't connected to a family unit would stay there. And over the years, after the Harmonists sold the town to the Owen group, it was the site of a school. It's been a tea shop, a cigar factory, a boarding house. It's been a furniture store. It's been a lot of things. So a lot of lives have passed through there. So we can go in there and we can really get a lot of evidence. And we kind of treat it like an archaeology experiment. We want to go in and learn something that we want to know about the history. And who better to ask than the people that lived it? And a lot of them will talk to us and they'll answer. Like we wanted to know, men were on one side of the hall and women were on the other. We were like, which side? And they said the west side, and it was, and then we went back and started listening to the audio. And it's like, when we're on this side of the hall, we just get females.
Yeah.
And so that made perfect sense. So we've connected with quite a few of them that lived the history. And we have stuff happen. You'll see one time I took a picture of a group of people that were in the middle of an investigation, and there were 3 additional shadows on the wall behind them. Like you could see their shadows, and then there were 3 more. So we've caught all kinds of evidence. There's people have caught a woman in white on a camera, and cool. I don't know. It's just crazy. It's a fun, not so scary, just fun. Because they talk to us and we get a lot of information.
Yeah, that's cool. Try to read some of the comments here too. So is there any other cool places in and around New Harmony? I know we also checked out, oh gosh, what was the name of it? Was it Edmond Cemetery? There in the state park.
In the campground. Yeah. That was kind of freaky. One of my friends comes to town frequently, and he has a camper, and he always stays at the state park. And he happened upon that cemetery, and he said, I got to bring you here. I want to show you this cemetery. And we went out there at night, and he has an SLS. I have one now too, but at the time, it was my first experience playing with an SLS camera. And we brought that out there, and it was mapping out people all over the place. But then we started getting responses on the spirit box and direct communication. I feel like we were talking to, I can't think of the man's name. I've had too many investigations since then, but there's one grave where the man's buried beside his first wife and his second wife. There's tombstones, but he was talking to us.
Yeah, I remember Elizabeth was one of the females, I think.
If
I remember right. I can't remember, but I think they were Edmonds, right? Is that correct? Edmund, is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah. I don't. It's been a while since I've looked at that, and but it was interesting. And then on our way back, we're walking through the woods, and we hear people talking.
Really?
There's no other trails anywhere around there.
That's exactly what happened to us.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, no kidding. That's weird you say that, because it was just me and Courtney at that time. Ed and everybody went to the cabin, and me and Courtney, this was like 2 a.m. we decided to do this. And we were back there, and it was on the way back. We started hearing, I thought, people talking in the woods. Yeah, you can go back and watch this live and verify this. And we started hearing it walking down the trail. I said, I hear people talking out there. And, I just thought, well, maybe, I don't know, maybe the sound's carrying from a trail somewhere else or something. But we're in the middle of the woods here in New Harmony State Park, which is a pretty good size area.
Yeah, it was the same thing for us. And then we thought the same thing. And then we looked later at the map. There's nothing around there. That trail just goes to the cemetery. There's nothing. So that was crazy. Yeah. Wow. That we had the same thing. And then we started hearing coyotes, and they were getting closer and closer. And I'm like, yeah, let's pick it up a little bit. So we picked up our pace and just kind of got out of there. I didn't want to run into any coyotes.
Yeah. Reading some comments. Yeah, that's weird though. We had the same experience there. I mean, and it was out in the woods, and like, we were running a Paratech device, which is kind of like an obelisk, but it spits out words and stuff. It's got a database or data bank of words that, they can pick from and spit out. And we got October back there, and I went to look around, and one of the females, I think it was the Elizabeth, she was born, I think, in October, if I remember right. And I thought that was kind of weird because we hadn't gotten October on that for a long time. Just, it may have been coincidence, but it's still kind of weird. It did coincide with, some of the information on one of the graves back there. So,
wow, that's wild. Well, and the state park has some history to it as well. 70 acres were donated to start the state park, but the rest was taken by eminent domain. And so there were a lot of people that were very angry. They were losing their family house that may have been, in their family for generations, so that they could start the state park. So, there may be some old homestead sites, and I'm sure there are, that were torn down to make room for the park. So, if you've investigated for a long time, just because you tear the building down doesn't mean the ghosts go away.
Right.
Sometimes they just stay there, and maybe they see it like it used to be. Maybe they see it as the house is still there. I don't know. But sometimes that energy still lingers. So,
I think. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I just said there's probably hauntings all over that state park if you know where to look for them.
Oh yeah, it was a pretty neat area because you talking about the buildings and the hauntings and all that. We got a place called the Hudson Cabins over here in Hudsonville, Illinois. There was a massacre that took place there, and where the reconstructed cabins are is not the original site. I mean, it's pretty close. It's like a few hundred yards, away from where the reconstructed cabins are. But I believe the reconstructed cabins are still pulling in residual energy and intelligent energy, because I think, the ghosts or spirits have moved to the site to where those cabins are, and, maybe they don't know the difference. Same with some of these reconstructions in New Harmony, like the Labyrinth and the ones that have been reconstructed. Or I'd also read where a couple of the buildings had been moved, hadn't they, in New Harmony? From original location.
A lot of them were moved. Back between the 1940s and the 1970s, there was a descendant of the original Owen family got very active in New Harmony, a woman named Jane Owen. And so if you walk around, there's anything you see that's unique, maybe a little weird. It was probably Jane. Like we have a roofless church, and that was her. And both of the second labyrinth, the stone labyrinth, and a lot of sculptures and parks, and a lot of fountains in town. But she also moved a lot of old houses. Like I think she kind of rescued them. They may have been close to being torn down. So original Harmonist houses, and she would have them moved to a lot where she could protect them. And so there's a ton of little guest houses in town that nobody lives there. It's just they're just there in case somebody needs a place to stay. So it's interesting.
That is cool. Yeah, a lot of history there. Like that's amazing. Yeah. And you spoke of the roofless church. That's one place I was wanting to kind of do some EVP sessions at and some ITC sessions. And we went in there, and when we got up there, well, that was one of the first places I looked at when I got in town there. There was a wedding going on or something.
Yeah.
So, well, better not interrupt that, because I went up to the door and they all kind of looked back at me like, that gunslinger coming through the doors in an old Western saloon. I kind of walked in there, and like everybody just kind of turned their head and like stared at me. And I was like, okay, bye. I didn't realize what was going on in there, so I got out of there.
Yeah, no. And there's, it's used for a lot of weddings. So, there's one location, I was talking about community house number 2. I want to mention that if anybody's in the area that wants to do a paranormal investigation with me, we have our one and only investigation so far this year is going to be at community house number 2 on October 23rd. So they can go, they want to learn more about it, hauntednewharmony.com.
Okay.
Details. But there is something crazy that's been happening outside that building that I started noticing with my ghost walks. Is there's an old street light in front of it, and sometimes it burns, glows. It's just a ball on a pole. It's big, it's a street light, but it will glow amber as we walk up. And as soon as we get up to the building, it stops, it turns off, and then we'll walk into the courtyard, and I'll talk about the haunting in the building. And then as we come out, it's still off, and I can stand there and I can say, "Will you turn the light on?" And it'll come on. It glows green.
Wow.
And I've demonstrated this to a couple of friends, like just out on my golf cart. I'm like, "Watch this." And I go, right in front of the building, and I'll say, "Can you turn the light on?" And with my friend Ben, who's in town, I said, "Can you turn the light on the count of 3?" And I said, 1, 2, 3. And the light came on. And so, and I'm sure the people that live across the street that were watching me from their front porch thought I was certifiably insane. But I guarantee you, the minute I drove away, they all probably tried it too.
Yeah, no kidding. That's what I was saying. You probably had a whole herd of people come out, and try and take the clap lights, like trying to clap it on her.
Yeah, well, and I mean, and it makes sense that the building's active. The ghosts have learned a thing or two. They know how to turn on our K2 units. They know how to turn on, the REM pods and whatever equipment. They know how to speak through the spirit boxes. And so, why not learn how to harness probably a very old faulty wired lamp,
Right. Yeah, that's really interesting. Yeah. Now that event you're talking about, can people get on there and get tickets to that, or how does that work? Like,
Yeah. We're selling tickets at this point, $50 for a 3-hour investigation. And, we've upgraded our equipment this year. We now have an SLS, and, but we find that, it's interesting. The spirit box is one of our favorites. We definitely get a lot on that, but we also get a ton on dowsing rods. And, it's just kind of fun because we have everybody in the group use them so that they can have that experience. Do you guys ever use dowsing rods?
We have. I mean, we've messed around with a lot of stuff like that. We lean more, like I say, toward the scientific side of it, so we don't use a lot of stuff like dowsing rods and stuff. Even though ghost boxes, are extremely scientific at times, because there's a lot of audio pareidolia that comes over a ghost box. You have to filter through, with intelligent responses and stuff. But I have done a lot of experiments with dowsing rods, and I'm not saying they don't work at all. Because I actually had an experience. One of my, it's been a long time ago. One of my guys that was with me, right when I was first forming a team, years ago, we were out in the cemetery, and it was actually on Good Friday, and we were walking across the cemetery. It was Brockville over in Jasper County, Indiana, and we were trying dowsing rods, and the dowsing rods crossed. He told them to cross to indicate a ghost or spirit, and they crossed. And about the same time, he said he got hit in the back. Of course, I don't believe him. He says he got hit, and he pulls his shirt up, and there was 2 handprints on this guy's back. Like, I mean, just handprints. And he got so scared after that. There was a creek that runs behind the cemetery back there. He ran over there and threw those dowsing rods in the creek. And then I hear him running back even faster. I said, "What's wrong?" He goes, I threw these dowsing rods into the water, but he goes, I never heard him hit the water either. So he thinks they just disappeared when he threw them, and he was scared. Like, he was all freaked out about the event. But, I mean, that's cool though. We don't use them like on investigations, but we definitely experimented with them and stuff. That's neat. That way the public gets to experiment with that type of stuff too. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, we've done quite a few different experiments. We do the Estes method with the spirit box. Usually one specific person. We've done the psychomantium, with the mirror in the dark closet and the light, and what we do is we have everybody from the investigation walk in by themselves and experience it for 5 or 10 minutes, and then come back. Not tell anybody, but write it down in a log, what happened to them. And then later we'd look at the log, and it was like so many people had the same experiences.
Oh, yeah.
We like to do little experiments. So every time we hear of something new, we'll try it. And I think people like it too because it gives them something different to do. So just something, we get bored too,
Oh yeah. We're always trying different types of EVP and ITC experiments and stuff like that. Yeah, that's this method like you're talking about. We were doing that a long time ago before they even started calling it that. We blindfold each other and put headphones on and all that other stuff. Listen to the ghost box communication and it's pretty neat. Some of the stuff is crazy that comes through. I mean, it's more than a coincidence, and that's like my favorite thing with paranormal research is the communication side of it. I'm more old school, let's just take a recorder in and try to get, EVP out of thin air or, something like that, but I'm into the EVP and ITC side of paranormal more than I am really photography and the video part of it. Cause there's so many things with photography I can explain, with dust particles and reflections, pareidolia, matrixing, everything with photography. A lot of people jump the gun and it's a ghost, but when you've got an intelligent communication coming through, answering a question that you ask, that's harder to explain. So it's like, I really like the communicating side. That's why I like mediums and, psychics, it's always interested me, because, it's direct communication to you guys. So that's interesting. And, I like to, hear that stuff. So.
Yeah, I'm very much into the audio as well. And I feel like they gravitate towards some people more than others. Like I can be, I get a lot of great EVPs, and I have probably 300 EVPs on my SoundCloud account. So if anybody wants to hear what I've gotten, it's on my website. So there's a link there that they can go, or you can just type in Joni Mayhan on SoundCloud and you can find it. But, we've had so many crazy experiences. Like one of my favorite, this was in Massachusetts. I really don't investigate too many cemeteries because I feel like the people probably hang around more their old houses than they do their dead bodies, but there was an old cemetery in Massachusetts that we went to, and it was interesting because there was the father's grave, then there's the mother's grave, and then there was a grave with 4 children. And the children died within like 2 years of each other. And so it was the man's name was Captain Sibling. And we said, Captain Sibling, are you still here? And got a very clear EVP, no device, just a recorder. He said, yes, heaven won't take me.
Oh, wow.
And I get goosebumps every time. So we went back out there a couple of times. I went out by myself and just talked to him and said, look, God loves you. You're welcome in heaven. And then from that point on, we never heard from him again. So I'd like to think that he crossed over.
Yeah.
And there was like a big cholera epidemic during that period of time. So that's probably how, I don't know. There's another backstory. We couldn't find anything else about Captain Sibling, but his wife outlived him, but he died a couple years after the children all died. So I don't know, I don't know what the story was, but I feel like there must have been one.
Yeah, that's interesting. I guess you're more solo, I take it, right? You say you're more of like a solo investigator versus having a team. Is that?
Yeah, not really. I have been on a team. That's how I got started. 2009, I joined a team because I was wanting to have some experiences, and I lived in a haunted house for 13 years, and I kept having paranormal encounters, and I wanted to learn more, so I joined the team, and I ended up becoming director of that team after a while, and kept everybody busy, and we did that for years, and then it's just, I decided I'd rather go by myself, or I'd rather collect just a few people, like depending on what I'm doing. Like around here now, I have, people that are on my Haunted New Harmony tour guides are all investigators, and they all help me with the public. So, like we're doing an investigation tomorrow night, actually. Cool. I got commissioned. Yeah, I got asked to write a book for the History Press called Haunted Posey County. And so that book's due in March. So I've got a lot of work ahead of me. And one of the locations is the library in Poseyville, which is the next town over from us. And I knew it was haunted, But I went in there and talked to them, and they're going to let me come in with a couple people and some equipment tomorrow night and do an investigation. Awesome. So, those are fun. Yeah, those are the fun ones. And, we don't have a lot of, I don't have a camera system that I set up, just because every time I have brought cameras, it's been a lot of work and we've not gotten anything. And then I don't trust most of what we get anyways.
Sure.
The only reason why I think I would want cameras is so that I can debunk some stuff. Like if somebody heard a bang and you had a camera on the group and you could see, something fall over in the background, then you would know what that bang was. But, not necessarily for apparitions. You know what I mean?
Yes, definitely. Yeah. Yeah. We've, same thing, we'll set the camera system up and it helps to verify, what's going on, if something falls, like exactly that type of stuff. But yeah, it's pretty interesting. You have to keep me updated on what you find tomorrow night.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, do you guys stay all night? Like we usually go in at like anywhere from 7 to 8 p.m. and we'll stay till, if we can, till like 5 a.m. Do you guys spend the night, or you just do it for a couple hours?
Probably just a couple hours, because the library staff, they've been experiencing these hauntings forever, so they're going to be there. And then they have to open the library again to, the next day.
Yeah.
I have a feeling it'll just be a couple of hours and we'll see what we can get. But if it's very successful, maybe they'll ask us to come back. So it depends on the location. When we do Waverly Hills, we stay, pretty much all night. Or, like I saw, you guys would do Ashmore Estates, or you have done them. That's one on my bucket list I'd like to check out. So there's, and those are the kind that I would do all night.
Yeah. Yeah, we have investigated Ashmore Estates a couple of times. I investigated back before all the hype was there too. Now it's like, it was before you even pay to go in. I investigated it years ago, and then they had what was called the Ashmore Experiment there, the Channel 10 done. And one of my team members went and done that. It was on a Channel 10 special they done. But the Ashmore Estates, it's pretty decent. I haven't found a lot up there, but I definitely recommend it for sure, if you haven't been there. But it's interesting. Cool place. There's actually a place we investigated that's kind of like a identical location that nobody even hardly knows about down in I think it's Lawrence County. I think which county that is down in there. But it's set up the same way. It's an old poor farm and was used pretty much for the same type of thing, back in the day. And looks identical to the Ashmore Estates. And we've got some weird there. But you have to tag along with us on some places sometime.
I would love to. I haven't done anything for fun. Usually it's for, for business. That's what I do for a living. So, it would be fun to just go down and, just to investigate.
Yeah. You're more than welcome anytime here. Just come on up and we'll show you around. And we've got some crazy places around here for sure.
Well, it sounds good. I appreciate that. And I appreciate you having me on the show tonight. This has been fun getting to know you a little bit better, besides the quick, hello from the golf cart,
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah. That was pretty ironic. I don't know, because I was going to contact you anyway. It's crazy we met up like that.
Yeah. You guys were using my book for some of the research. So,
yes.
I saw that somebody's wife, I don't know if it was Ed's wife or your wife or somebody
Becky,
was commenting.
Yeah, Becky, one of our team members, she was reading your book and telling us some stuff. So we appreciate that. And definitely check out her books, guys. And while we're talking about your books now, you've got more than just like your Haunted New Harmony book, right? You've got some other ones that's in the background there. Do you want to tell about those any?
I have 23 paranormal books, and you can see the poster behind me, Hanover. Other side, Hanover Haunting.
Yeah.
That one is one of my scariest books, and that's a true life haunting story out of Hanover, Pennsylvania. It's been on quite a few paranormal shows, The Dead Files, Ghost Hunters, My Haunted House. It's been on a lot of them. And she originally had Mary Ellen Guiley set up to write her book, and then Mary Ellen started getting sick, and she ended up dying. So she needed another author, so she happened upon me and asked me to write the book. And it's a scary haunted house story. And then you can see the skull. That's Bones in the Basement, and that's another haunted house story about a house in Massachusetts, where the people didn't believe in ghosts, bought an old haunted Victorian and ended up getting chased out after 2 years. So they're written. My books, even my true paranormal, are written almost like fiction. Like it's suspenseful. Like, you know, you read it and you think, you know, is this fiction or is this true? You know, and it is. Right. It's true. You know. So yeah. I like to leave people on cliffhangers. And people tell me they can't put the book down. It's like, would you stop doing that? Because I need to get some sleep.
That's a good thing.
Yeah. Yes, and I do write some fiction. I love writing fiction because then I have a free, you know, I can base it on my experiences in the paranormal world, but I don't have to follow, you know, a set story. You know, I can make it up. So that's fun too. So I have some fiction and some nonfiction. So
awesome.
Yeah, lots of books. Signs of Spirits is one of my most popular ones. Talking about signs people get when loved ones come back to visit, and interviewed a lot of people, a lot of stories. So yeah, it just runs a gamut. Joni Mayhan on Amazon. I have a lot of books, and I put out 1 or 2 books a year usually. So
that's cool. Yeah, that's neat. And they can purchase those on your website as well, or is it just on Amazon?
It's just on Amazon, but on my website there's a link to the Amazon book, so they can go and they can read about them and then go to Amazon and see more. So, yeah.
Okay. And you want to give your website one more for everybody maybe just tuning in?
Yep. It's hauntednewharmony.com.
There we go.
Yep. And, or, you know, others flip side, JoniMayhan.com. It takes you to the same website. So, you know, it's half ghost hunting and ghost walks and half books. So awesome. Everything is on one website. So if you can't remember Joni Mayhan, you can remember Haunted New Harmony.
Great. Well, I've had fun. This has been a really good episode. I mean, I really like hearing about, you know, the history of New Harmony, and it was really, really nice meeting up with you there. And hopefully, you know, we can do some stuff in the future. And you're, like I say, you're more than welcome to come this way. Just definitely send us a message. You get any free time off or something, we'll take you on a little haunted tour around here for free and show you the Methodist Village, our place we're going into. We'll take you to some cool locations. And
hey, I'll just take some time off. I have 5 tour guides now, so I'll schedule somebody.
Sounds good.
Like I need to get out and have some fun. So thank you. I appreciate that. And I will take you up on that.
Okay. Sounds good. I appreciate that.
Same with you guys. If you want to come back to New Harmony at some point, I'll get you into some locations. So
okay. We appreciate that. Yeah. We'll probably take you up on that too. So.
Okay. Sounds like a plan. All right.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for having me on.
Yeah. Thank you for being on. We appreciate it.
All right. Good night.
Good night. We'll talk with you later.
Okay.
All right, guys. That was Joni Mayhan from New Harmony, Indiana. We met up in the cemetery there, the Maple Hill Cemetery. Kind of interesting story. We never know who we're going to run into when we're out. It's really cool when we run into someone like that, especially. And really good guest tonight. But the show's not over yet. That was our guest, you know, our special guest we had for the evening. We are going to go extended over a little bit tonight because we're going to kind of inform you guys on what happened also on our investigation at the Methodist Village. And I just lost my other guy down here in my box. I was going to throw up in the screen. He is now missing. But don't know where. There, he's back now. But got another guest, guys, we are going to throw up here, one of my team members. We got Jareth Pinkston here in the house with us tonight for our second guest onto the show tonight. And again, like I say, we're going to go probably another 30 minutes here just talking because we want to inform you guys on what happened at the United Methodist Village also. And that was our New Harmony investigations we were talking about in the first hour of our show. And now we got Jareth Pinkston live on here tonight. And we are going to go into the United Methodist Village now. So but we still want to thank Joni. She came on, you know, on the show, and that was a really good show tonight. So everybody check her websites out, you know, her Facebook page. She's got one, and definitely check out, you know, her Amazon links, you know, for her books. If you guys are interested in, you know, Haunted New Harmony books or some of the other books she had, sounds really interesting as well. So definitely check that out. And we thank her again for being on the show.
And all right, Jareth, how you been tonight?
Oh, tired. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, I can hear you. Yep, your screen looks better than mine.
I'm using headphones. Yeah, I'm using headphones, so I wanted to make sure that you can hear me.
I can hear you just fine.
All right.
All right, guys, we're going to talk about the Friday the 13th investigation we conducted at the United Methodist Village, and we've been conducting, Friday the 13th investigations a lot. We had originally planned, if you guys had watched our last show, again, we do these shows on the first and third Monday nights of each month now. On our last show, I informed you guys we were going to be at the Hannah House in Indianapolis, Indiana for their paranormal event that they were going to have. We ended up not going to that because, I don't know. I just got this weird feeling. We didn't really realize it was Friday the 13th when we scheduled the Hannah House thing because it was on the 14th. There's no way we could do the Friday the 13th investigation and then get up at 4 a.m. in the morning and then go to Indianapolis to the Hannah House event. So we ended up going with the United Methodist Village instead and doing a paranormal investigation for Friday the 13th. And it was just crazy. I mean, just crazy stuff we experienced. So we're going to talk about that tonight. It's not, it's the things that add up that made this really crazy, and we've always had good results on Friday the 13th, which, in our past investigations, we've done ITC experiments. We've done, a lot of different stuff on Friday the 13th. It's come almost like a traditional thing now. It's Friday the 13th. We're going out. So, anyway, I got Jareth here tonight to talk with us about what happened at the United Methodist Village. We were inside investigating. Now, when we first walked in, first started filming, I knew it was going to be different. And if you've watched our previous investigations there at the village, we didn't have a lot of activity. I was starting to think the place was not haunted or not as haunted, as I thought it was or going to be. The place definitely had potential. I mean, there's been multiple deaths in there and it's old, the building's really old. So, that's definitely a recipe for a haunting, but we weren't finding the activity that we thought we were going to find, on our previous investigations. This was the fourth investigation at the village last Friday on the 13th that we done in there. So the second we get there, I knew it was different. Like I said, James was filming me. He had the camera, the lighting system down there, filming upward, to give me some more light when I was doing the introduction. Fully charged lighting just went dead instantly. And that doesn't happen with that light. I mean, that thing just went dead. I mean, right off the bat. He filmed for maybe 3 minutes or 4. I don't know. I have to go back and look. But it went dead pretty quick. Okay, that's normal. I thought, maybe just something wrong with the battery. But then we go down the hallway and we're filming and I'm looking around and I see what looks like somebody walk from one room to another. Like this black shadow thing, walk from one room to another. And I run down there, nothing there. I cannot explain that. We thought maybe it was a lawnmower guy outside because I talked to Rick. I said, hey, I just seen something. He said there's somebody mowing outside. So we thought we tried to debunk it, and look outside to see if maybe the lawnmower was up on the hill and there was a guy walking out there creating a shadow through the doorway or something and made it appear that way. Went outside. We couldn't find anybody. The guy wasn't mowing. We didn't see him anywhere. Didn't see anybody walking or anything. And it's elevated above a little higher than what I thought when we looked out. So it couldn't really be a guy there. And we just lost Jareth. That's great. But he'll probably come back here in a minute. But we tried to debunk it. I couldn't debunk that event. What I seen, it could have been a shadow, I guess. The camera light was in my eyes when I looked over and caught it out of the side of my vision, looked over there and seen this go across there. Maybe it was my eyes playing tricks on me. I tried to debunk everything, but I seen that. I'm like, okay, this is probably going to be a little better night than we've had here before. And see if I can get Jareth back in here. What happened? Where'd you go?
I'm not sure what happened. I lost connection.
Thought maybe that ghost got you again.
Yeah, my phone's been really whack.
Okay, if I lose you, I'll just try to bring you back in. Just try to rejoin. But anyway, so that event happened. Now, the next series of events that take place on Friday the 13th in the Methodist Village, it's just one of those things we had to put all this together like a puzzle. for it to really be like, oh my gosh, this is pretty significant. I mean, I guess we need to start out with Jareth, right? When that like probably the start of it, like you
Do what?
The key's upside down out there. You're right over there.
I'm having technical difficulties here. I'm sorry.
So.
Like it's all wonky on my side. Like I can barely hear you and everything.
I thought you just got attacked again.
Yeah.
Are you good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. I'm trying to tell the story if you can stay upright.
Yeah.
All right. But anyway, so Jareth goes into this room down the hallway. And
well, that's not even where it started, actually.
Okay, go ahead. You go ahead and start there.
Yeah.
It started with you guys.
Go
ahead and fill them in.
So I'd say when it very first started, we were in Dicus Hall. I didn't tell you this part.
Yeah.
We were in the Dicus hallway, and like that hallway down towards Wesley or whatever that hallway's called.
Yeah.
I looked down there because I got this like feeling that I need to look down there, and I seen like at the end of the hallway there's a door to one of the rooms, and the door's open, and like I seen this man come out and like start walking down the hallway towards us, and that's when it all kind of started.
Yeah.
Was like the dude. And then
okay.
The breakdown crying moment that you all waiting for.
Yeah. Yeah. Explain to him. So
yeah, that was
before he starts explaining this, guys. I mean, I'm on the other side of the building, and they like tell me, something's going on to get over there. He doesn't want to be on camera, obviously, because he's crying. He's extremely upset, about what he's seen. That just makes it even more realistic to me. I mean, I know he thinks he's seen something, because of his actions and the way he acted. But go ahead, Jareth, and tell him what happened again. That way, it's now that you're not scared to death like the other night. So I mean, explain to us what went on.
Yeah, I'll tell you now. Like what I seen was not pleasant at all. Like Jason knows this. I'm one to not get scared very easily. I'm one to walk, in a graveyard at night by myself. I don't get scared that easily. And nothing really frightens me, but this encounter kind of threw me for a loop.
Yeah.
So we're in, like I said, I can't think of the name of it, Wesley hallway.
It may have been Pathways.
And like, I get to do what?
Pathways, is that the name of the hallway? Or like Pathways?
Pathway? I thought it was
maybe. I don't know, but yeah.
I thought it was something like that.
Maybe. Anyway, yeah, go ahead.
But we're in this hallway, and I'm walking down, and I get this weird feeling, and like I need to go in one of these rooms, and like I start walking into different rooms, and it just the room's not it. That's not the room. So I get down all the way to the end of the hallway, and the second to last room on the left was the one that I felt the most weird in. So I walked in there the first time. Nothing really happened. And so I was like, okay. So I walked out, and as I'm walking down the hallway, I get this feeling like, hey, you need to go back in here or something's going to happen. So I go and I turn around, I walk back in the room, and as soon as I turn the corner, this person sits up out of bed, turns and looks at me directly in the face. So it was all like pitch black. The whole body was pitch black. The only reason I knew what the face looked like is because I got like a mental image of what this person's face looked like. And the mental image that I got was horrifying. It was this woman, and her eyes were basically like bulging out of her head. She had like cuts on the side of her face, and they were bleeding, and like half of one side of her face was like rotten and decayed, and the other half was just slightly normal, but there was a couple different like cuts and scars and stuff.
Yeah.
And we come to find out what
this was in room 143, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it was 143, was it?
Yeah, I think so. Go on though.
But come to find out later, when I left the building, one of the other team members came out, and she asked me what was wrong, and I told her exactly what this lady looked like. And if you guys watched the live, you've seen that she found a photo of the person. And that was the very first person that she ever found dead in that building. And it turned out that that person that I seen was her. And we got it cleared that she was in that room. And that was her room before she got moved to Dicus hallway or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know whether it was Dicus or what's the other one? Auden?
Yeah, yeah.
It was one of those two that she got moved to after she was in that room. So it turns out that the woman was actually in that room that I seen her in, and then she got moved to a different hall.
Right. Yeah.
Which is kind of proves the story even more.
And we,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. And it was like putting all these puzzle pieces together that made this so interesting, guys, because this happened to Jareth, you know, he's seen this. Then Kelsey comes in later, flips over a picture, and the lady's name is on the back of the picture that, you know, first subject that she ever found passed away there because she used to work there at the village. And, you know, it was one of the first, you know, dead bodies she'd ever seen. And, you know, that's something you remember, you know, and I'm sure it was ingrained in her mind who that was and everything, you know, and her flipping that over and seeing that name really freaked Kelsey out. Because I think I was next room over when that happened. And Kelsey went out of the room at that point. We may have been on the live. We may actually have been filming that when it happened. I can't remember, but she left, you know, she was upset. That's when she went out and talk to Jareth about it, you know, like, what did you see? Correct, Jareth? And like, that's when you guys were describing it and going back and forth and figuring out who this exactly was and who you guys both think this was now. Correct?
Yeah. See, like, there's no way of debunking that. And then the door alarm going off right after we leave the building.
Yeah,
like something tried to follow us out, and we already proved that you had to have a bracelet thing to make that door sensor go off.
Yeah,
and that's like one of the most convincing things. Because,
all this stuff was connected. You know, then we leave to go talk about it because Jareth still doesn't want to be on camera at this time because he's still upset and crying. He's outside double over. Courtney told me she thought you were sick. She didn't know what was going, you know, because you didn't want to talk about it at first, you know, and you were bent over. But we go outside to talk about this, and we're all outside the Methodist Village. And I left the live feed as a static cam facing the bed in the room where he's seen that in case it would happen again, so you guys could see it on video in case she happened to materialize or something happened. You know, I wanted you guys to be able to catch that on the live feed. So I leave it there. We go outside to talk, and as I'm exit the building, there was nobody else in the building. We were all standing out front. Whatever it was, like Jareth said, followed us because it set the wonder alarm. It's called the wonder alarm. What's that thing called?
What's that? I don't know. A door alarm.
It's like a door alarm that if they pass through it, you know, if they pass through the threshold to try to escape, you know, back in the day, it would set the alarm off. But this alarm went off while we were outside, like somebody trying to escape the Methodist Village and come out there to us, you know. And all this happened like in a sequence of events, guys, and just very, very strange and hard to explain. We tried to debunk it a little that night with this Wonder Guard, I think it's called. I may be calling this thing the wrong name, but it's the alarm system. I'm just going to refer to it as the alarm system. But the alarm system we tried to debunk, you know, the next night too. So we go there on the 14th, you know, Saturday the 14th, and we end up finding a little thing like that sets it off that they can put in their pocket or put somewhere that will set that alarm off. So we were able to test it and fully Wonder Guard. Yeah, okay. Carol said Wonder Guard is the correct name for this system. So we were outside for a while, you know, when that happened though, but there was bracelets back in the day that they would put on the patients, you know, so if they tried to escape any of the exits, you know, this alarm would go off and they would find them. And we've been told that several did escape without the alarms going off at times, and they would find them outside or something to that nature. But Sammy, one of our team members now, I believe she's the one that found it, went and found the actual piece that sets that off. So we were able to do a really good debunking and thorough test of that system to see if it could go off without that thing and how it worked, you know, how close you had to be to the threshold of the door before it set it off. And we did that on night 2 in our August 14th investigation there, and we still cannot debunk that event. It's still very strange. So just some type of malfunction in the system. All at the same time, this stuff happened on Friday the 13th of him seeing this, us going out the door to talk about it, something falling out, setting the alarm off. I mean, just too many coincidences. And you have to have this little thing to set it off. We have not had that alarm go off without having that, the little device that Sammy found to test it. It's like, it's a little square, but they told me they had bracelets that would also set it off back in the day, almost like a leg bracelet or something you would put on somebody that they would put on the patient. And, they could get out that way, but something triggered that. Something, I believe, as of right now, other than if it's just some weird coincidence and weird malfunction of the system, could have been paranormal. I mean, it's the craziest thing I've seen there so far, and the best evidence. That's physical evidence, and we tried to debunk it. We went around to other areas of the building where this Wonder Guard was at and used the device to see if you tripped it there, if it would set the front door alarms off, and it would not. Whatever set it off had to go through those front doors, we determined. So, and we tried to debunk it. We tried everything we could to set it off from other areas of the building. We determined that it had to exit the building in the direction that we went out to where we were talking. So just crazy, crazy stuff going on there on Friday the 13th. What's your opinions, Jareth? I mean, you didn't want to go back in for a while. I mean, how do you feel now about it?
I would go back in now. Like, it was one of my first experiences like that. So, you gotta understand, that's not something that you should be able to see. And that's not something you should be okay with seeing. There's, people saying stuff, oh, he's crying like a baby. Oh, I'll never do that. I'm like, because I guess you've never experienced something like that. It's something that mentally scars you and stays with you for the rest of your time ghost hunting, because it was that bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sure you have experiences that you've seen something that you still remember whenever you were younger.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Because it messed you up that badly.
I've got so many things up here, Jareth, you don't even want to know about it.
Yeah, exactly. There's some mental images that you just can't get out of your head that mess you up. Make you break down. That was one of them. It's cool and stuff whenever you see it in movies, but when you see it in real life, it's completely different story.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And yeah, I told them too, but real quick though, I think it's Becky out there responding as us again, says the alarm went off twice while we're in the lobby area watching the doorway just after the initial alarm. So yeah, I forgot about that. That makes it even more realistic, because I had the camera set up as a stationary camera again after the Wonder alarm went off the first time. And when we went back out to talk a second time, I set the camera up on the alarm, and it happened 2 more times, guys, with the camera pointed toward the door. So you can see that no one went through that door, to cause that alarm to go off. And we got that on our live cam the second and third time the alarm went off, and you can see no one was there. No one was near the door at all when it went off. So again, verification, some invisible presence was tripping this alarm. And it would always happen like it was following us out, we'd go out to do a little group discussion off camera, and alarm would go off again, like some other person was behind us following us out, but we were out there for quite a while, and we even tested it later on. We came back in, left it the same way it was. The alarms don't just go off like that. It happened 3 times. I asked the owner, Rick, he said he'd never seen it happen before. We left the doors open the rest of the night. It never happened again. It never happened on our 14th investigation, other than us deliberately tripping it for the debunking purposes. It scared the heck out of me one time, because I didn't know they had found the device that trips it, because we've been looking all over the building for either a bracelet or the device that would trip it. And Sammy, I believe, like I say, I think she's the one who found it. Her and Jake Greentree were digging through some stuff and found it. And I think they got it too close, didn't realize what it was, and set it off, freaked us out. We got over the radios running up that direction, because I thought it had happened again on the 14th, and it didn't. It was them setting it off. And then we did a thorough test once we found out that was the device that sets it off, you know, to try to debunk it. Never could debunk it. But yeah, Jared, that's messed up, man. I don't know. Just the whole investigation.
I don't know. Huh?
Go ahead.
Okay. I don't know if we were on the live stream for this or not. I think we shut it off when we started doing it. But the red and the blue light mixed together thing, that really stirred stuff up too.
Yeah, we were using a combination of red and blue lights in there too, UV lights and red lights, and also trying to see if we could see anything through those. And yeah, Jared, that's what Jared's referring to. Like, yeah, we may start doing some of that too, using different light waves, different spectrums. You know, it's kind of like full spectrum type stuff. You know, even using the human eye to look through full spectrum type light. You know, you got some things you can't see with the human eye, though. Some spectrums of light, you know, obviously, but you know, like when you get into the infrared spectrum. But we were using different lighting types, and that's what he's talking about. You know, we were seeing some weird stuff doing that, but
yeah, that's like you have some of the other ghost hunting teams that use like the infrared blue and then the infrared red lights and stuff like that when they're like recording with their GoPros and stuff, because that helps sometimes too. You can see stuff.
Yeah,
that
definitely. And yeah, they're saying out on the comments here too. Yes, Kelsey's seen something. Yeah, Kelsey's seen something in the hall looking at her. Yes, I forgot all about that. Thank you. So she was there. We were running a ITC session with one of our devices and getting some stuff over. Kelsey looks over and sees what she thinks to be a apparition looking around the corner from the nurse's station also. So that was pretty weird. And I can't remember if that was in Dicus. I get the hallways confused. But I don't know where we are. I don't know if Kelsey's on here. Maybe she can tell you. But yeah, that was pretty strange because she freaked out even. And, you know, she was pretty upset when she seen that and jumped. You know, it's like I tried to debunk it. It looked like I tried to get the same angle she was at. And, like, I totally believe what she's seen. But James, the way his light was reflecting off of one of the doorways, I could see what almost appeared to be a lady in a white dress standing in that nurseway area there. So in my mind, you know, did she see that? I'm not saying, you know, that's what she's seen because she was pretty freaked out, but I did see a lighting reflection that looked similar to a lady in a white dress caused by our camera light when I got in the same angle where she was at. So I mean, I can't see out of her eyes, so I can't, you know, validate for what she actually seen, just like I can't validate for what you actually seen. But, you know, I try to debunk things, and, like, that could have been what she's seen. I don't know, you know. Maybe she did see something. Like I say, I can't validate what you actually seen. You're the only one that's seen that, you know. And I look at people's reactions, too. You know, it's a psychology thing. I don't think you're just going to bend over and cry and double over. I mean, you actually believe you've seen.
No, I'm not.
I know
I'm not going to fake that.
That's what I would say. I know 100% that you actually believe you've seen something there, you know, because of your reaction. So that's just what makes it even more real, you know. And especially,
and like I said,
go ahead.
What?
Go ahead.
And like I said, you've never seen me do that. Like, I'm not one to get freaked out and like bend over like that and start crying. Like, I don't do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Jareth. Something's attacking Jareth again. What is that?
Then. That's my
okay. You look pretty weird there for a minute. I thought you got possessed again. Starting to worry about you.
Give it time. Give it a little bit. Probably happen again.
Yeah. You turned all like weird colors there for a minute. I thought, my God, it's there.
Oh, yeah. No, I had the lights off in here and had that little 50 bulb LED light going.
Yeah, gotcha.
But as I was going to say, like, yeah, the lights sometimes like make it seem like you see something, but it's not actually there.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's one of the
Karen asked, Karen Cat had a question. Did anyone go back in the room after Judys Experience? And yes, I went back
in there.
Yeah. We went back in there. I even set the camera down as a stationary camera. Like that's where I put it after that experience to see if it would happen again, you know, for you guys out there on the live feed watching it. And unfortunately, it didn't pick anything up, I don't think. And yeah, I went back into there. Oh, that reminds me of another experience I had in there that I'll tell you about. Gosh, I don't even remember what room. It was in the Alton Center or the Alton hallway too. I think it was room 182, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, yeah.
Is that in the Alton hallway?
Yeah, that's Dykes. Oh, yeah, it's Alton. Never mind.
It was Alton, yeah. Anyway, we went Alton. I always pronounce that wrong. Alton Center, whatever the heck.
Alton.
I always say Alton because it's Alton, Illinois, and we investigate over there. I was doing that on the live feed all the time. Sorry, guys. But yeah, I was in that hallway. I went in room 182, I believe it was. I was in there filming by myself. I took the camera and kind of wandered off just to see if I'd have an experience by myself, if anything would happen. Went into that room 182 with rooms out there, turned the lights out. I started hearing knocks, started hearing some like bangs and almost sound like footsteps at one point. And I thought I seen something over across from me. And I'm telling you what, like when I had the lights out, I don't even know how to describe this. It's like if somebody just gets up in your face, you know, like right in your face. And you know they're there, but you can't see them. And that's the feeling I had. You know, they're like just eye to eye with me when I had that camera in there with the lights out. And like, I didn't really want to turn the lights back on for a minute because I didn't know what would be looking at me. But that's what it felt like. And I later found out I had no clue. I was just drawn to that room. I mean, we're still finding out the history of this building and all the stuff that happened at this location, guys. Just like a pine lawn, you know, it kind of unveiled it, you know, and revealed itself as we investigated through these multiple investigations. Same things happening here at the village. I found out later on that an individual had passed away in that room and they had fallen and hit their head. And it was a pretty gruesome, you know, death.
That was a...
What's that?
Huh? Oh, I said, no, that was a female, wasn't it?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. That explains it.
Yeah.
All right. So we were sitting in that hallway, and you were sitting in front of me. Like I was sitting kind of parallel to the doorway, and I look over, and there's like a male or a female just standing there, like staring at us in the hallway. It was
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was a female though. It was kind of like a female. Yeah.
Yeah. This place is weird, guys. I mean, there's more. It's a different type of haunting than Pine Lawn. I mean, Pine Lawn, they played marbles with it. They were like kind of playing with us, like almost like interacting with us in like a friendly way. And this place is a little different. I mean, I'm not sure this place is as nice as Pine Lawn. I mean, what do you think?
Because everybody had their own little experiences. Like there wasn't a single team member that didn't experience something.
Yeah.
There we go again.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what's up with that.
It doesn't do that. I don't get it. But yeah, everybody had their own little experiences. Like something would happen and to them. And like it would be different each time. Like you, I don't know if you told the thing about your knocks yet or something like that.
Oh, following me around?
Yeah.
No,
I don't think we were on live when that happened.
No, I wasn't even going to tell that. But since you brought it up, I guess I will.
Oh, my bad. I didn't know you weren't going to tell
no,
that.
it's fine.
Hey, you were making fun of me for the...
I know. I make fun of you for crying.
For the crying. So I'm going to make fun of you for this.
Yeah, I kind of got spooked in there, guys, too. I was talking to one of the ladies. She was telling me a story in one of the areas about how one of the indoor courts, it's kind of like a little garden they go out to. She was telling me about how a resident escaped or kind of got into that area and froze to death in there. And she was telling me about that. She went and left then after that and left me beside it. I kind of got turned around. I didn't know where the group were at. They had the live feed camera, I think. Maybe James had it at that point. But I kind of got turned around. Didn't know where the heck I was at in there. So I was by myself in the dark. And I felt this extremely cold spot come up on me. Like, I don't even know how to explain it, but it was cold. And I'm walking, you know, trying to find the rest of the crew, trying to figure out what room they're filming in. And I started hearing knocks on each side of me, like bang, you know, bang on the other side of the hallway. And like, I think I literally went every wing by myself until I finally found him in the last wing. So I ended up going down, you know, like Dicus by myself. I went into the Alton Center by myself. You know, went through every room trying to find these guys where they were filming. And it was like this thing was following me. It was like knocks everywhere I went, you know. And then we ended up taking a little break. And what was weird, when I found him, what was weird was when I walked out, and I didn't tell anybody this. I told it to him later. But when I walked out, Jake and Kelsey Greentree were sitting there at the entrance. They said as I walked out of the building, something was banging behind me, following me out the building. And I was like, well, yeah, that's what I experienced all the way walking to try to find, you know, where the rest of the crew is at. And so I don't think I'd even told them at that point, you know, what I was experiencing, because I was keeping that to myself. And they verified that something actually knocked and followed me out of the building. So again, I don't know, dude. It's weird.
It's a weird place.
And I can't
really explain it to you. What?
Yeah, and I didn't have anything hardly happen the first 3 investigations. Then we go on Friday the 13th, and like all heck breaks loose.
Yeah.
I mean,
like,
go ahead.
Oh yeah, it's kind of like Pine Lawn. Like, it's one of those we can't really explain it to you. You have to experience it for yourself.
Yeah. I think a lot of these places are that way. You know, we can sit here and tell you about these experiences, but yeah, like Jared says, you know, unless you're there and you see and feel this yourself, you know, you may not even believe it. But it's like, yeah, it's one of those things that, like, it's just weird. That place has got a different feel. I don't know. But we're definitely going to be doing haunted tours there. So, oh yeah, Macy, I forgot. There's just so much stuff that happened on Friday the 13th. I'm forgetting about it. Or Macy, was that on the 13th or the 14th? We also had a call light going off in one of the rooms. And I guess
no, that was last night.
Was that the 14th?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So that was another event that took place. That was on the 14th. We had, I guess, Kelsey and some people were talking about some things that were happening in this particular room, or had happened in this particular room. And that's what I was talking about on live feed, how these ghosts and spirits are listening to you. And we figured that out through our pylon investigations too. They can hear you. They know what you're saying, and they can comprehend it. There's intelligent spirits in some of these places, because they listen to your casual conversations that you're having in there. Jared's just getting attacked over there. I don't know what's happening to him. But they listen to casual conversations. And they were talking, I guess, outside, close to this hallway, not exactly by the room. And then the call light for the room they were talking about started to come on, and came on like a couple times, and couldn't get it to go off. Kelsey tried silencing it, and then we finally found the cords to put in the wall to disable it to silence it. But the call light went off for this particular room, and they were just talking about that room. So that's more than coincidence. I mean, that's just weird.
Yeah.
Karen says it doesn't sound very inviting. Nobody's
it is if you're interested.
Yeah, nobody's probably taking this on a tour. After Jared's story, they're all going to be like, we're not coming this year. But yeah, we are going to be doing haunted tours in here, guys. Probably last maybe 2 weekends in September, we're going to get some stuff going, and all through October. Obviously, we're going to be doing our haunted tours again, but we will be doing haunted tours at the United Methodist Village. We will be announcing them, on our page, on our talk show, and letting you guys know, when we're going to be doing that. But we're going to be starting early this year, especially, definitely the last 2 weekends in September. We're going to be doing haunted tours, probably in the village, and all throughout October. So definitely sign up. You guys are interested in this place, because, like I say, just like Pine Lawn, the state of Pine Lawn right now is rather unfortunate. There's still hope for getting back in Pine Lawn, but some strange set of events took place there at Pine Lawn. I was wanting to buy the place, and I offered the guy a pretty good amount of money for it. We were going to buy it, and he told me he had another guy interested in it. This guy's not probably going to pay him. And he ended up letting this other guy, start to fix it up. So right now we can't get in Pine Lawn. That's just all I'm going to say about that situation without being mean about it. But I'm not very happy about the situation, because we'd actually put some money down on Pine Lawn too regarding this, and we may not be able to get back in there. I don't know. Are you all right?
Yeah, I'm having malfunctions. Again.
I'm sorry.
For the third time.
It's pretty entertaining just watching Jareth bounce all over the screen, guys.
Yeah.
But our Pine Lawn investigations, that's why I try to tell you guys, we may be able to do some haunted tours at one location one year, and you may never be able to experience that place again. Circumstances may change, owners may change, and we not get back into some of these places. So when we offer haunted tours, you definitely want to take advantage of that into these locations, because we may not be able to do it next year. It may be a one-time, 1 year thing in some of these buildings. So definitely try to sign up for these Methodist Village tours, guys. Karen said he's still shook up. Technical difficulties, Drew said.
Yeah, a little bit. The thing is, though, like, Pine Lawn just kind of stopped everything it was doing.
It really did.
It wasn't really interesting anymore because nothing would happen.
Yeah. Yeah, after our December 6th event, public event, it just stopped. No marble.
Kind of boring.
Yeah, no coins. Yeah, and then it got boring. We went there multiple times, multiple investigations after our December event where a golf ball was thrown on our public event. Something threw a golf ball out of nowhere. And after that, it just quit. That was like the grand finale, and it was like they just left. I don't know if it was if the energy burn out, if the haunting burn out, if it just quit trying to impress people. I don't know. That's why I want to get back in there, because we investigated in 2020 from September to December of 2020 is when we experienced all this stuff. And I want to get back in there this year. It's sometime in that time frame, especially in the October, November time frame, when we experience the most activity at Pine Lawn, and see if it happens again or if it's gone forever. So that's something we're definitely going to try to do. I still have hope for Pine Lawn and some investigations there, but hopefully, we can get back in there. But
see,
what's
I
that?
I kind of feel like it's not gone. It's just like one of those residual things. Like, it will happen 1 year, these many months, and they'll just quit, and then it'll start up again and just do that.
Yeah, it may be. It may just be a time of year type thing. That's why I want to get back in there. The place needs studied. That was the most haunted place I've ever seen on planet Earth. The place needs studied.
And it was just
studied.
Yeah, and it was just like a random place that we found that nobody really knew about.
Yeah.
Besides the people that worked there, and then all of a sudden it comes to be like one of the most haunted places we've ever been.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, that's what we got going on, guys. We just wanted to kind of update you on what happened to us at the Methodist Village on Friday the 13th, or what happened to Jareth in particular. It was more than just Jareth. We all have personal experiences. Oh, Courtney even. I forgot about Courtney.
She did too.
I just keep remembering things, guys. Like Courtney, she went into a room and she didn't know the history of this at all. Kelsey, she worked there for years, so she knows a lot of this stuff. Courtney went like this, put her head kind of against a paper and started reading a couple names on the wall. Said she got a splitting headache. Said her head just felt like it was going to explode, in the front of her head. And I guess Kelsey didn't even hear her say that. And you were standing beside her, right, Jareth?
Yeah, it was me, Kelsey, and Courtney.
Yeah.
And then Courtney, me and Kelsey and Courtney, we walk into this room, and you know how they have names on the closet on like the shelves? Yeah. Well, we walk into this room, and like Courtney goes to grab something on the top shelf, and then she like steps back, and I ask her, I'm like, "What's wrong?" She's like, "I got this splitting headache." And then as she like read one of the names out loud, the headache came. And then Kelsey asked her what was wrong, and then Courtney told her, and Kelsey's like, "Oh yeah, the two people that were in this room had brain problems. Like they both, I guess, some
Brain
passed
disease.
away or something with the brain."
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty interesting too. You know, she got a splitting headache right when she read the names of the two individuals. Had some type of brain disease or disorder. And as soon as she left that room, she said her headache went away. So I mean, it's like we all had weird personal experiences that's just unexplainable in there. That is just too much for coincidence. You know, one person, yeah, two people, you know, 3, 4 people having experiences, then you got something going on. I mean, especially sequence of events that lead to something else, like the alarm going off. You know, that's physical evidence. You know, we captured on camera that alarm going off. So.
Yeah, it was every team member experienced something personally.
Yeah.
Like the only one that didn't, I think, was Jake, and that's it.
Yeah.
But everybody else had their own personal experience or something happened to them.
No, Jake actually, he was in the room where I started seeing the thing in room 182. He's seen somebody in there too.
That's what I'm saying. There was actually a couple times where he told me he did see people in the room.
Yeah, he actually seen somebody in that room. He said, like, and that was the room where I felt like the person was in my face. Like when I had the camera up there and then I turned the light off, I didn't want to look at it. But yeah, he's seen somebody in that room too. But yeah.
So, yeah, I'm pretty sure all of us seen somebody in that room between me, you, and Jake. It was just, it's one of those, like, you got to be careful by going by yourself because then you just get, like, attacked by something. And then you're the one that gets targeted for, like, the thing that happens to you. It's like I said, everybody experienced a little thing that happened to them.
Yeah. But I just want to let everybody know and update you guys. We've had a pretty good show tonight, from Joni to our stories with, you know, the Methodist Village. And again, you guys, we're doing these talk shows every first and third Mondays now. We are going to be doing some investigations again here pretty soon. So stay tuned to our page and check those out. Jarrett, do you have anything else you want to talk about your experiences before we shut this thing down?
I recommend going. That's about it. If we do tours, I recommend everybody goes. I mean, yeah, you'll probably experience something that freaks you out, but it is really exciting.
Yeah. And like this comment, this is exactly right, though. No one should be alone. That is true. I mean, really on any paranormal investigation, even me going into there trying to experience something, you know, by myself. I mean, sometimes I do that just to see if, you know, I get something that doesn't happen with the rest of the group. But yeah, I shouldn't even do that either. You know, nobody should be alone on a paranormal investigation. Nobody should wander off because, like, for safety purposes and, you know, verification purposes of, you know, had I been with you in the same room when you walked into there and we've both seen it, that would have been even better, you know? So it's like, but yeah, that's a very good point that they just brought up, you know, no one should be alone. And,
like I said, I do that. What?
Go ahead.
I do that because I'm so used to going to places alone, and it doesn't bother me. So I just walk into somewhere alone and not think twice about it.
Right. Yeah. That place, we're gonna have to make an exception. We're gonna have to go in pairs at all times.
Because I'm sure you do the same thing as I do. You'll steer away from everybody and you'll go off by yourself and just kind of see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes you want to have a personal experience. You know, you want to see if it will happen to you and no one else. I mean. But yeah, it's not a good thing to go alone.
That's kind of one of the other things I kind of wanted to talk about too. Is that whenever
Go ahead. Yeah.
Whenever you take big groups and stuff, you won't really ever. I mean, there's times that you will get stuff as a big group, but usually you won't. So like 1 or 2 people, like that's where I see it as that's a good thing, because you have 1 or 2 people in one part of the building, then they're more prone to experience something than you being in a group of like 5 or 6 people.
Right.
It just, the problem is nobody's going to believe you if it's just you.
Right.
Unless you do what I did and cry like a big baby.
Yeah. I mean, that's the way, you know, with any story, you know, I mean, you know, I can see something, you can see something. I mean, just our words sometimes. And that's why I like documentation. That's why I like having stuff on video, because we can tell you this stuff all night, guys, but until you experience it yourself or see it for yourself, it's not as real to you, but yeah, it just validates it more when you have personal experiences out there, and see this stuff firsthand, any type of paranormal activity or phenomena. And it's like sometimes one person will experience it, another one won't. I mean, it's strange how these things happen. That's why it's a paranormal. I mean, we can't explain it. We can't duplicate it. We can't scientifically duplicate it. I mean, it's hard to, document activity like this. I mean, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to show you guys, we got the footage of the system going off 2 times by itself with nobody by the door. And that's pretty good. We documented that. You guys can go back and actually see that evidence that no one was passing through that door when that system went off. So, I mean, cool.
They did, besides the door, kick the experience. Oh, hold on a minute. I hate this. They did, besides the door, get the experience you getting karate chopped in the throat.
Yeah. I forgot about that too. Yeah, I had something like that happen at Pine Lawn too. I started talking. It felt like something almost strangled me. Like, I had that happen while I was talking in there that night too. I forgot about that. There's just so many little weird things.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll have to continue to investigate, continue to, let everybody know what's going on for sure.
That's what I was saying, because me and you were staying there, and I was telling everybody about the experience I had, and you just make this weird like gagging sound, like somebody just karate chopped you right in the middle.
Yeah, it really felt like somebody did a knife hand to my throat. I mean, right on the Adam's out. I was just like boom, and like mid sentence, like I was like talking, it was just like something hit me. But yeah, I don't know. I try to ignore things like that and pass them off as like, I don't know, a big flying moth just hit me in the throat. No, yeah, I don't know. I've got to try to explain it as something other than a ghost hit me in the throat. I don't know what it was.
That's what I'm saying. Sometimes, yeah, you can't pass off as everything as being paranormal.
Right. I don't really know what caused it. I'm not saying it was paranormal, but it was weird. Just a lot of little weird things that happen.
But like I said, what?
Go ahead.
Like I said, it's not like you go in there and you're expecting something to happen. Sorry, my words got all confused.
Oh, you're
Don't go in there and expect something to happen to you. Just go in there and just kind of wander around, and eventually it'll happen to you. Something.
Yeah. Yeah, just going with an open-minded, skeptical approach. I mean, I like skeptical people that don't believe in stuff, Go in there with a skeptical mind, but yet open, and like, like Jared said, something will probably happen. But yeah, we're gonna have to shut this one down here, Jared, because we're getting about the 2-hour mark here. And
all right.
But I appreciate you coming on, Jared, and telling about your experiences there at the village. Anything else you got before I get you out here real quick?
No, not really. I'm trying to think of something.
All right. I think we covered about everything. I'm sure there's stuff we forgot that happened to us, but all right, I'm going to pull you out, Jared. Again, thanks for being on the show and talking. Yep. That takes a lot to talk about experiences like that, especially when you're physically affected by them, like he was. I mean, it's hard to talk about that to the public,
That's what I'm saying. Like, everybody was saying that I was just like a big baby about it and stuff. Like, you don't actually know what it's like something like that until you experience it.
For sure.
Like, you could talk like a big game like that, like it's not really going to be that terrifying to actually see. That's like, that was.
Yeah.
All righty. Well.
All right. Well, I will take you out, Jared, and I'll see you on the next one. So thanks for being on.
No problem. See you.
All right. All right, guys. That was Jared Pinkston, one of my team members. And he was talking about his experiences there at the United Methodist Village in Lawrenceville. We are going to call this one a night. We had an awesome show tonight. I think one of the best ones we've had in a long time. We had the special guest, Joni Mayhan on for the first part, talking about Haunted New Harmony, Indiana, and led into our paranormal investigations on Friday the 13th into the Methodist Village. We will be doing lives here again pretty soon, guys, and we'll keep you announced or keep the
page informed regarding when our next live feed is going to be. Maybe this weekend. We probably will be going live this weekend, and I'll let you guys know regarding that and where we'll be going. So stay tuned, and we will definitely be live here soon. We want to thank everybody out there for watching the show tonight and all the information you guys have sent us regarding United Methodist Village. You guys are kind of, like I say, you're our eyes and ears during our investigations too. During these live feeds, you help us out so much by time stamping stuff. When you see things out there, you hear things. That's awesome. We go back on that live feed, listen and watch, and try to debunk some of the things you guys see and hear too, and some of the things we can't debunk. So it's cool. We appreciate you guys and what you do, and all of our fans out there that watch us, day in and day out, and watch us at when we go on at 2 a.m. You guys are right there with us. It's awesome. So we appreciate it. And like Diana Dart's on there. I seen her in the restaurant the other day. That was cool talking with her. And we like, meeting up with you guys. We'll meet some of the people, out and about, and it's cool to see you guys. But thanks. We hope to see you guys all on our haunted tours this year, and we'll keep you updated on when those are going to be. And I think we're going to call this one tonight, guys. Have a very good evening, and we will see you on the next one.
It's time to help people customize and save with Liberty Mutual.